while Bill was cleaning at the police station. She suddenly noticed a huge mistake. She spotted an error in the case details written on the blackboard. She tossed the lollipop from her mouth aside. She started thinking, and soon realized that the police had got it completely wrong. They had mistaken the victim for a suspect, so she took it upon herself to alter the content on the blackboard. After finishing, she even danced merrily around the police station. But the next day, the detective in charge of the case found that his notes on the blackboard had been changed. Who did this? Who altered the content on my blackboard? This is no joke. Everyone hurriedly pulled up the surveillance footage, which showed everything Bill had done the previous night. She just smiled and said nothing.
Sometimes the music takes control.
The female superior didn't find it amusing. She warned Bill that interfering with a criminal investigation could land her in jail. Bill looked completely innocent. I just corrected a mistake of yours, she said. The detective got even angrier. He had been a policeman for 20 years. He wasn't going to listen to a cleaner's suggestions, but the female superior ignored him. She handed the case files to Lisa and said, "Continue your explanation." Bill put forward clear logical reasoning. The police suspected the victim's wife, but from the photos of the crime scene, it was obvious that she had obsessive-compulsive disorder. So why was one of the curtains left open? If she really were the murderer, she couldn't have left things in such a mess. There were also rope marks on the chair, but there were no marks on the victim's body. This could only mean one thing: there was another victim. Lisa concluded. There must have been a third person at the scene. The wife wasn't the murderer. She was just another victim. Her reasoning was impeccable, and even the detective couldn't find a flaw in it. But he still couldn't accept it. Only the surveillance footage could prove whether there was a third person. Just as he finished speaking, one of his officers rushed in with the latest news. A woman had been seen entering the house around the time of the murder. This made Bill's reasoning absolutely unshakable. The detective had nothing more to say. He could only look at the woman in admiration. The superior, however, looked thoughtful. Turning to Bill, she said, "We're still missing someone here." The woman looked shocked and said, "The prisoner deliberately threw the baseball near the barbed wire fence. Then he pretended to go fetch it. He boldly crossed the warning line. No one noticed him. He glanced at the guards in the distance, but the guards soon spotted him. He immediately raised his hands, signaling that he was just retrieving the ball." Faced with the officer's scolding, the man grinned smugly, because he had just confirmed something important. This spot was hidden from the view of the watchtower. That night, under the cover of darkness, he managed to escape by crawling through the barbed wire, but the guards recaptured him just one day later. Yet he seemed quite pleased, for all this was part of his plan. It turned out that the prisoners here were secretly plotting a large-scale escape. 100 prisoners were preparing to flee on the same day. Their plan was to dig a tunnel. The plan was soon put into action. They first sabotaged a water tap, splashing the guards with water. Then a group of them gathered to block the view. Someone slipped out from under a truck and stole 2 iron bars, quietly passing them to their teammates inside. With tools ready, they started breaking through the floor. After careful consideration, they chose to hide the tunnel entrance, using a hammer to work on the floor in the hut. Their accomplices kept watch outside. They would send a signal immediately if anything went wrong. After several days of work, they managed to dig about 30 feet, but a new problem arose: how to dispose of tons of dirt. What was worse, the soil underground was a different color from the soil in the camp. This put them in a dilemma. If they didn't clear the dirt in time, when the prison conducted its inspection the next day, their entire plan would be exposed. Soon, one of them came up with a suggestion. While exploring the wilderness, a woman stumbled upon a cave. She stayed in the mysterious cave for only an hour, but when she came out, she was shocked to find that the earth seemed to have moved hundreds of years into the future. The outside had turned into a barren wasteland, and the air was filled with a strange and unpleasant smell. She took out her phone and tried to get a signal. When she looked up, she discovered that humans had migrated to the upper atmosphere. No one on the ground could respond. As a massive sandstorm approached, Carla had no choice but to retreat back into the cave. At this time, her companions in the cave were still chatting and laughing, completely unaware of the seriousness of the problem. But after hearing her description, they didn't believe her. According to them, she had only been gone for 2 seconds. Was her words just a joke? Fortunately, they had brought a camera, which recorded several hours of footage. Within just 2 seconds, they finally realized the gravity of the situation. Time in the cave was passing, millions of times slower than the outside world. They noticed that the sunlight was flickering rapidly. At first, they thought it was due to the clouds, but they soon realized that each flicker represented an entire day. What they were seeing was the sun, rising and setting at high speed. At this moment, Billy felt regretful. She shouldn't have led the team on this expedition to find the legendary hot spring that could make people stay young forever. But Jesse looked up at the flickering sun and suddenly understood. The hot spring must be hidden in the cave. But by this time, the teammates had lost their patience. They thought that even if they found the hot spring now, it would be useless, because they would never be able to return home. Jesse believed that as long as they were alive, there was still hope. She hoped her teammates could trust her. Just then, the cave began to change. For exactly 20 years, a man has been hiding in someone else's wardrobe. When he needs to use the bathroom, he sneaks out to use their toilet. While the couple is at work, he opens the fridge to find something to eat. Why hasn't he been discovered for so long? The story begins when he hid in an antique wardrobe loaded onto a truck to evade debt. When he emerged, he found himself in a stranger's bedroom. Just as he prepared to leave, he heard footsteps on the stairs. In a panic, he ducked under the bed. There, he overheard the homeowners talking. The wardrobe was an antique left by the wife's grandfather, placed in the room but never used. Seizing the chance to hide, he decided to take refuge inside the wardrobe temporarily. At night, when the couple fell asleep, he carefully crawled out from under the bed. But instead of escaping, he quietly returned to the bedroom and hid under the bed again, planning to wait out the night. The next morning, after the family left for work, he emerged, shaving with the husband's razor, taking a shower, then making breakfast by soaking biscuits in milk from the fridge. What he did next was even more bizarre. He moved the antique wardrobe, dismantled the door of the white cabinet behind it, and removed the rear partition of the antique wardrobe, creating a secret passage between the two. Just then, he heard someone coming home. He quickly hung up clothes, crawled into the antique wardrobe, reinstalled the partition, and hid inside the white cabinet. But was his scheme truly flawless? That night, this is the most miserly person in the world. When he goes to the supermarket to buy groceries, he only buys food that is about to expire, and it must be on sale. When he arrives at the checkout counter, he takes out a pile of coupons, and finally only pays $1. To prevent the water meter from running, he only turns on the faucet a little bit. Even with an empty toothpaste tube, he uses a stick to squeeze out the last drop. Even when burning incense for his deceased parents, he breaks the incense into 3 pieces. For breakfast, he only eats 2 eggs. He only spends $1 every day. After 40 years of hard work, this man finally saved $2 million. He was about to start his retirement, but he unexpectedly fainted in the elevator. After examination, the doctor diagnosed him with a brain tumor, and he only had 20 days left to live. This sudden blow made the man desperate. He withdrew all his money, then found his best friend. They checked into the most luxurious hotel, and ate food they couldn't afford before. On the last day of his life, the man returned to his house, took an expired ham sausage, and started eating it. Soon after, he fainted again. His friend immediately sent him to the hospital. When the man woke up, it turned out that due to a malfunction in the hospital's equipment, his brain cancer diagnosis had been a mistake. An elderly man stole diamonds worth $1 billion, but dumped them all into the sewer in one go. Just as he was about to leave, he happened to encounter security personnel. Luckily, the other side just greeted him casually. After all, no one would suspect a 70-year-old man of stealing from the vault. When the bank president finally inspected the vault, the scene before everyone shocked them. A full ton of diamonds had vanished without a trace. No one knew how the thief had managed it. The bank's top executives held an emergency meeting, for this theft was enough to bankrupt them. Meanwhile, the elderly man had sneaked into the sewer, where the diamonds he'd dumped were piled up. Xiaomei hadn't expected that this seemingly ordinary old man had such a strategy. But a problem arose: how to cash in these ill-gotten diamonds. Unexpectedly, the elderly man was confident. He'd already sent a threatening letter to the diamond dealer: pay £200 million, and he would return all the diamonds. Otherwise, the diamonds would disappear forever. By then, the stock market had turned upside down. The news, leaked by an unknown source, caused the diamond dealer's stock price to plummet. The entire financial circle was shaken. Xiaomei felt the matter had escalated too far, and tried to persuade the elderly man to stop, but he suddenly pulled out a gun and pointed it mercilessly at Xiaomei.